Hello guys, good morning. Ryan from Husky Moving in Arlington, Massachusetts, serving the greater Boston area. We are a full service moving company. We do residential, we do commercial, we do handyman work, we do assembly work, we do odd jobs, disposal, we mount TVs, we do artwork mounting, a lot of random tasks you wouldn't necessarily think of a moving company we try to get done. What I want to talk to you guys about is being an option that your customer doesn't need to worry about. The reason this comes up, I had a couple of jobs over the last 2 days. One I have a break from today. That kind of made me think about this. Mainly because this morning, what I had to do was I have a job this weekend where it's a pickup today. Today's a Friday. Tomorrow, I don't have any work for that job. And then we pick up back up for this job on Sunday. So there's a day break in between, but it's the same job. And I had to get a Penske truck this morning, a 26-foot truck, because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be picked up, and we needed the larger truck. Anyway, the reason why this came up is because it's 6 o'clock in the morning. This morning I get up at 6. I don't have to be somewhere until 1 o'clock today, but I got up super early today so I could get over to pick up the Penske truck. The reason I did that was because in the past I've had a couple of situations where the day of or the day before I was supposed to be picking up rental trucks. The truck was not available. And so it's a shitty feeling. You got to scramble. It's a nightmare. It sucks. So what I wanted to do, I got up super early so that if anything happened with the truck, I get over there, the truck is not actually there. I don't have to scramble last minute, meaning I have like a couple of hours of time to figure a different solution. So complete overkill. I got up way earlier than I needed to, but again, the reason I did it was because I wanted to ensure there wasn't going to be any potential issues today. The job that I'm doing is a event. It's not a home move. It's an event, so it's a little different. Like if I was doing a home move, theoretically, if I needed to, I could use my smaller truck and just take multiple trips. I can't do this for the event. I need to fit everything in the truck for a couple of reasons I won't bore you with. But getting this truck was not an option. And so that's what I would call a bottleneck, meaning if we don't have the truck, everything shits the bed. Yesterday, I had a job where I actually wasn't supposed to do the job yesterday. I was supposed to do it this Saturday, in between the double day job. I was supposed to do this other job on Saturday. But I had some time yesterday afternoon, so I called the woman and was like, hey, I got some extra time. Do you want to get going on your job? Not because I wanted to start the job. It's actually not a job I was really looking forward to. It was a gym. I'm breaking down a gym for a woman who went out of business in my town, which sucks. But it's just a lot of like what I would consider to be big lockers and stuff like that. So I wasn't necessarily looking forward to doing it per se. But I got ahead of it by calling her yesterday. And the reason I mention this is because where I'm going with all of these details is your goal should really be to get to a point where your customer doesn't worry about you and your customer stops worrying about the stresses of their job. Now, I can't tell you how many times I get calls from people and they indicate either verbally or through their actions that they're super stressed about what's going on in their lives, meaning why they've contacted me, their move, their assembly, whatever the case may be, super stressed, super nervous. The whole thing from top to bottom can be really nerve-wracking if you think about it objectively. Now, I do it every day, so it tends to be a little bit less nerve-wracking for me. But I get nervous all the time about things. So yesterday, for example, we were breaking down this giant gym scenario. There were a whole bunch of things that needed to be done, none of which were necessarily going to be easy. So the woman was like super nervous about it, which I understand because I was nervous about it too. But by calling her yesterday and getting ahead of the job, we wound up doing like 5 hours worth of work yesterday that she wasn't planning on doing. So now all of the stuff that's already been done, she has 2 days less of stress that she doesn't have to think about that stuff. Now all that stuff is gone from her mind. What was going to happen was she was going to stress from the day she called me until the day I got there and we got it done. And now all of that stuff, all of that stress, so the job is like this big, we got like that much of it done. So now all she's got to worry about is like this much for like a couple of days as opposed to this much for a couple of days. So taking a lot of stress off her plate. The job today where I'm picking up the Penske truck. The reason I did that is because Boston, and I'm guessing probably the country, has a shortage of moving trucks right now, rental trucks. And so I had pre-warned my customer today, probably about a month and a half ago when he originally booked me. I was nervous about the rental trucks, not because I'm nervous about me. I'm always nervous when I have to depend upon other people. I hate to say that, but you know, it is what it is. If I tell you I'm going to be somewhere, I'm going to be somewhere, and other people are not that way oftentimes. So I was a little bit nervous. I told him that. So I really wanted to get ahead of that truck and get it so that I could contact him this morning and be like, yo, we got the truck in hand. We're good. We got time. We're all set. Everything's squared away. Now you can take that off your plate. You don't have to worry about it. You can focus on the other things that you might need to button up and worry about. But that's not going to be one of them. So the point here is I'm not like trying to brag about what I'm doing. It's more, I'm trying to explain to you the mentality that I have of like, how do I remove stress from other people? So like, you're going to view things as like, oh, I got to move 12 boxes from A to B. And I get it. I think the same way. But realistically, that's not what you're doing. You are doing that. But what you're really doing is you're moving 12 boxes. You're removing stress. You're showing up on time. You're being dependable. You're doing what you say you're going to do. So realistically, it's not about moving 12 boxes. You're really a problem solver and a stress reliever. I think if you look at yourself that way, you might value yourself a little bit more, first of all. And also, you want to become the person that people always know, no matter what you tell them, you're going to do. Always. Now, this seems like common sense to me. It's not common sense to a lot of people. And I talk to people all the time, customers and people I work with, that kind of just blow through stuff and say something and then do another thing, or don't communicate. Don't tell a customer they're going to be late. Don't tell a customer that they've double booked the day and it might impact the customer somehow. There's a million different examples I see on jobs all day long. You don't want to be that guy. What you want to be is, I'm going to show up here and here's what I'm going to do. And then you show up there and you do what you say you're going to do every time. And what happens is, by doing that, all the stress that comes in the moving business, not the first job. The first job, people will worry. There's no way around that. That's never going to be the case. But the reason why you're going to continue to get booked over and over and over again and get all these referrals is because after the first job, and sometimes it'll take 2 jobs, but after you become in that person's mind their best option and the person that they can count on, even when they can't count on themselves sometimes, you're their guy forever. Until you F it up, you're their guy. And that is absolutely priceless. Absolutely priceless. I can't tell you how many referrals you would get from just doing that. Showing up when you say you're going to show up, doing what you say you're going to do. Complete common sense. You need to be the guy that removes the stress from people. You need to be the guy that no matter what needs to be done, or no matter what you tell them you're going to do, you actually do it. Okay? Very, 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 very important. But trust me, the sacrifices that you're going to make, like for example, this morning when I got up at 6 o'clock, when realistically I probably could have slept another 2 hours. When I got up until 6 o'clock, it didn't seem in the moment as if I got any benefit from that, but I actually did get a lot of benefit from that. It took it off of my plate, meaning I didn't have to stress about it anymore. So I lost 2 hours of sleep, but I gained back the lack of stress that came from, hey, is that truck really going to be there like they said it was going to be there? Could I potentially mess up this weekend's event by not getting this truck? It also took the stress off the guy who hired me, his entire company, blah, blah, blah. So this gentleman that hired me for this weekend has been hiring me for, I don't know exactly how long, but I'd say roughly a decade now of business. And one of the reasons he hires me, and actually I think it's probably a large part of the reason, is I know I have a good work ethic for sure, but I also am really good about being honest with him, transparent with him, and also doing what I say I'm going to do. So for example, this morning, when I texted him at 7 o'clock being like, yo, I got the truck in hand, we don't need to worry about it anymore, we're good. He has a decade's worth of experience of me doing things like that, which takes things off of his plate and he doesn't need to worry about it. I hope to God by this point, he knows that when I tell him I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, right? And that's important. And that's why I've been getting hired for a decade from this guy. Guys, I hope you found some value in this. I hope that you understand that you need to be that person for your customers if you want to grow your business. And the other one real quick thing about this that and then I'll shut up and sign off. Another really great benefit of being that person is the amount of free advertising you get. There's no advertising on the planet that's better than previous customers speaking to potential new customers for a couple of reasons. A, it's authentic, first and foremost, and B, it's absolutely free, okay? So your goal should be your actions are your best advertising, not your dollars. Like, you don't want to take dollars off of jobs and throw them at advertising if you have the ability to just use your actions as your advertising and not spending any money on advertising. That should theoretically be the goal. Now, I know it's not quite that simple. I know people have large companies and, payroll and families and got to send their kids to college and blah, blah, blah. I know it's not that simple. But realistically, the goal would be, rather than paying for advertising, you really want other people to advertise for you. And this is another great benefit of being that guy, the guy that shows up on time and does what he says he's going to do every time. One more quick thing I just thought of before I sign off. I know I said I'm going to sign off. You also want to be the guy that is bringing all the proper equipment to make everyone else's life easier. So yesterday, for example, we had to remove fans from a ceiling. And so one of the things I brought, and this is just a stupid example, but one of the things I brought is I have these hooks that have I don't even know what they're called. They have a release mechanism on that you can kind of do a little bit at a time. So what it allowed us to do was hook the fan up to the ceiling to a mount position and then unscrew the bracket and then gently lower the fan down so that a person on the ladder didn't need to be up there with this heavy ass fan trying to take it down a ladder. That would be an example of something I would say would be like the difference between kind of not really giving a lot of thought to something and being just a complete professional. Like, thinking through, what do we need to do? What can I bring for equipment for this job that's going to make everyone's life easier? Now, to me, this is no big deal. This is my job. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. But to that woman who hired me to take equipment down in her gym, when she walks out of the room and goes to do something else and then walks back in the room, and I've hooked up a hoist mechanism from the ceiling to gently lower down a fan, her thought process, she verbalized this to me. She was really nervous about getting those fans down because they're heavy. They're up on the ceiling. They're literally right next to a mirror because it's in like a bicycle room. So they want the fans as far away from the bicycles as possible, so they can pack in as many bikes as possible. So they're literally right next to mirrors. So her thought process was she was super nervous of the fan coming down, swinging into the mirror, breaking the mirror. So now she walks into the room. There's this dude she's never met before who's been super gung-ho working. He came a day early, 2 days earlier than she expected. He's 5 hours ahead of where she thought she was going to be, and that's that day, but he's actually 2 days and 5 hours ahead of where she thought she was going to be in terms of work ethic, or work done, excuse me. Now she comes in the room, and she sees me, who's brought these hooks to bring a hoist system down from the ceiling, and all of her fears that she didn't hire the right person, or her mirrors are going to get destroyed, or her fans are going to get destroyed, have gone away. She can rest, relax, feel as if she has the right person for the job. And this is hopefully the takeaway from this video. You need to do whatever it takes for you to give your customers the feeling that they've hired the absolute right person for the job, and there is no other choice. Literally, there is no other choice. That's the goal. All right, guys, I hope you found some value here. I know it was a long one. Ryan from Husky Moving. info@huskymoving.com is our email address. huskymoving.com is our website. And if you found some value in this, which I hope you did, like and subscribe as always. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.